If your baby can sit really well, but every time they want a toy, they start to cry because they can't figure out how to move, and you're starting to wonder, is my baby stuck in the sitting position? And more importantly, will this delay crawling? Then you're in the right place watching the right video. After 25 years, as a pediatric physical therapist, I've seen this exact situation hundreds of times. The good news is that sitting itself isn't the problem. The problem is getting into and out of the sitting position. Today I'm going to show you why babies get stuck, how it affects crawling, and the simple movement pattern that I use to help babies make the transition from sitting to crawling. Here's the thing, sitting is actually a wonderful milestone. Parents should celebrate it. The concern begins when sitting becomes your baby's only strategy for moving and they try to move without getting into and out of sitting. I want you to think of sitting as a triangle. The base of the triangle is your baby's ability to sit and maintain their balance in the seated position, rotate, shift their weight, lose their balance a little bit, and come back to baseline. The second part of the triangle, the side of the triangle, is your baby's ability to lean to the side, put their hands out, and protect themselves or catch themselves off to one side, or actually to both sides. And then the third part of the triangle is being able to lean forward and bear their upper body weight through their hands. And so as baby learns to transition from sitting into hands and knees, that's where the strength lies, and that's how your baby is able to move on from sitting into crawling. Any one of those parts of the triangle is not stable, and your baby winds up being stuck in the sitting position and not being able to get into and out of sitting in a fluid manner. And so that could definitely delay crawling. Before I forget, I've created a free PDF that you guys can download. It covers all of the milestones from 0 to 12 months. Print it out, slap it on your refrigerator, and use it as a reference so that you know when your baby's on track and when to reach out for some additional assistance. One of the easiest ways to start working on helping your baby to bear their body weight is on simply sitting using what's called the tripod sit, where you have baby sitting in between your legs facing away from your body and prop baby up on their hands with a toy in front of baby. Just let baby sit there playing with the toy, propping himself up. You can see I'm letting him wobble from side to side a little bit. This is all the beginning stages of being able to start moving around and getting comfortable in the seated position, building that core base of the triangle we talked about, sitting balance, sitting stability, and being able to sit and maintain the seated position before baby will actually feel comfortable and want to start transitioning out of sitting into different positions. So just starting off with your baby with their hands on a low toy like this one, where baby can start to prop themselves up, is a fantastic way to start working on baby sitting balance and building that core trunk strength and stability in the seated position so that we can begin thinking about transitioning into other positions. Once baby's trunk has gotten stronger, you can start moving on to doing what I'm doing with this little one. You can see here I have him off to one side. I'm letting him lean, and you notice he pushed himself back up from the side as he's playing with the toy. Now, you can use this activity to teach baby how to be able to start pushing up from lying on his side. And this is a great way to work on pushing up and moving into and out of the seating position from sideline. And of course, what you do to one side of baby's body, you want to make sure that you do to the opposite side. So you want to move baby over to the other side of his body, put that other hand on the other side, and cue him to be able to push himself up and move with the other arm. Put the other arm down on the ground, off to the other side, and push himself back up. And now you're starting to build the strength for baby to actually push himself back up if baby loses his balance. This is the second leg of that triangle, the side sitting. Another way to begin that strengthening process of having baby being able to bear their weight on their hands is to do what's called a baby plank. You can see I have baby over my leg. I have a toy that he's engaged with, that he's looking at, and I'm simply putting his fingers flat on the ground and cueing him to bear his body weight over my leg and just bear his body weight on his hands. Now you notice what I just did there with my forearm. I'm pushing down on his lower back, pushing down on his bottom so that I can pivot, use my leg as a fulcrum and get him to raise his head up so that he's not taking too much weight on his hands before he's actually ready. And I'm paying attention and being mindful to when he's going to collapse on his forehead or collapse and do a face plant onto the ground, and that's why I'm doing it on a soft surface. But you want to encourage baby to start pushing up against gravity so that baby can start moving into and out of sitting. This is a great way to break this activity up into smaller components and just focus on the weight bearing on both of his hands at the same time. Another exercise to work on strengthening baby's core trunk muscles so that as to improve baby's ability to sit is to position baby in different seated positions. I have her here in long sitting where I'm making her base of support a little bit more narrow, and then you'll see me move her into what's called crisscross applesauce, and notice how much her trunk begins to wobble as I position her in this crisscross applesauce seated position. And you can see that she's losing her balance and she kicked her legs out as soon as I let go of her feet. Those are great ways to work on trunk strength. The final piece in our transition before we move from sitting and go into crawling is actually to put baby in side sitting. You can see I have both of his feet off to one side, both of his feet on one side, and I'm just cueing him to continue working on building up some more trunk strength and stability before I actually help him to transition into crawling. But this is a fantastic last step to make sure the baby's core is actually stable, is to have baby sit with both feet off to one side and just go ahead and be able to play with a toy without losing his balance. This requires quite a bit of core trunk strength and stability, and it lets me know that this little one is ready to make that move and transition from sitting into crawling. Remember, the goal isn't to get your baby out of sitting. The goal is to help your baby learn how to move confidently between sitting, hands and knees, and eventually into crawling. When all three sides of the BabyMasterPT Transition Triangle become stronger, stable sitting, protective extension, and weight bearing through the hands and knees, the transition to crawling becomes much easier. Remember, movement builds minds. I'll see you in the next video. Once again, don't forget to download the free PDF. It goes over all of the milestones from 0 to 12 months so that you can keep track and know when your baby is on track and when to reach out for some additional assistance. If you got value from this video, please consider liking it, subscribing to the channel, and sharing it with anyone else you think would get value from it. And if your baby's already 9 or 10 months old and still isn't crawling, watch my next video where I'll show you exactly what I look for during a pediatric physical therapy evaluation and what parents can start doing at home right away. I'm going to put that link to that video right here.